Hello, everybody. It's Monday, the 25th of October, 2021. Today, I want to talk about the mob attack on Confederate memory. Before I do that, just want to notify you, click on the subscribe button in the lower right here, and then also click on the notification bell in the upper right to be notified when the future editions are released. Today's a talk about the mob attack on Confederate memory. Before I do that, I want to show you, we have a new soft cover edition of the Confederacy at Flood Tide, which covers the period from June of 1862 to December of 1862, when the Confederacy came closest to winning its independence. This covers developments internationally, Eastern Theater, Western Theater, Trans-Mississippi, political developments, battlefield developments. The book is available for $28 at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and other bookstores. If you want to get an autographed copy, email me, Phil, PHIL _ Lee, LEIGH, at me.com. And the autographed copy will be $31. If you're here in the United States, I'll deliver it at my expense. So, I've been studying critical race theory to understand what's causing all the interest in the teaching community about it and how it impacts Confederate memory. And what basically critical race theory boils down to is it postulates that there are two factions in American society: the oppressor faction and the victimhood faction, or the victim faction. The oppressor faction, when it comes to race, is typically the white man or the white woman. The victim is typically the Black or other ethnic minority, except for Asian Americans. It's interesting, the same thing happens in feminism. Feminism breaks down the society into two conflicting classes: men, the oppressors, and women, the victims. So critical race theory and feminism have really been going since the 1960s in parallel. One of the first men that recognized that if they want to have political influence was Richard Delgado. And he recognized that, basically they're both critical theories. One of them just deals with race and the other one deals with gender. And so he felt that they should, unite, and that way they could get political power. Well, that's already happened, of course, in academia, and it may well happen in the United States at large, even though in academia there are a lot more feminists per capita than there are in the United States among the women. So it's really both feminism and critical race theory seeing the two of them, their sides, united in the sense of being the victimhood faction of the American society and getting political power that way. That is why, for example, at Washington and Lee University, some of the most outspoken people wanting to get the Lee name off of the school are female professors, most notably the head of the history department there, but there are others as well. And so both of them are really wrong. Obama was elected president in 2008, re-elected in 2012, and now it looks like that the Biden administration is really the third Obama administration, because the people that are currently working behind the scenes to pulling the puppet strings for Joe Biden seem to be people that were affiliated with Obama. And since only 13% of America was Black at the time that Obama was elected, it's hard to conclude that America is racist or even systemically racist. So I know that's what critical race theory teaches. I'm just saying it's a fraud. And simultaneously, I think we have to recognize that feminism is the same thing. They've been crying victimhood since the 1960s, and their cries of victimhood not only don't get less vociferous or less voluminous, but they just increase among the feminists. Now, a lot of women, of course, don't subscribe to this, but and perhaps I'm optimistic that few of them do. But if you have critical race theorists and feminists in charge of the academia, what you'll see is there's going to be no room for Confederate history from the viewpoint of the white Southerner. The only viewpoint that will be permitted was that white Southerners were evil. Everything about the Confederacy was evil, and anyone that tries to tell the story of the war between the states from the Southern viewpoint is really just talking, is really just spewing so-called lost cause mythology. In reality, however, if you look truthfully at what some of the things that can be said about the Southern viewpoint of the war between the states, it is what I call refuting or debunking the so-called Northern pious cause mythology. They have a pious cause mythology about the war between the states in which they are the good guys and everybody in the South that isn't black is a bad guy. So I think that, by considering that Obama was elected president when only 13% of the country was black and he was reelected, kind of shows that America is essentially not really a racist country. It just isn't. Feminism is really the same thing. Feminists, 60% of the college students are feminists. They're no longer a minority. And when I went, when I went to start college, yeah, I guess women were a minority, but they're a majority now. And they actually do better than men in terms of getting office jobs that are not dangerous and that are indoors in office jobs, air conditioning, heating, and all that sort of thing. They don't have to be out in the rough weather. But the feminists just won't let go of that victimhood status. They just will not let go. And the reason is the same reason the critical race theorists won't let go. They get power by proclaiming their victimhood. And there was a development, however, last week that I think kind of shows that their victimhood, it really shows two things. It shows that their victimhood imaginings are way over exaggerated, just not valid. And secondly, they're hypocritical. What happened is last week, a publisher in Spain issued $1 million as a prize for unpublished manuscript by authors. Not $1 million, €1 million, which would be equal, and which is equal to about $1.3 million. The winner was an author named Carmen Mola. So they announced, Carmen Mola, the winner, at the banquet. She had been writing for at least 4 years, maybe even longer, and had sold hundreds of thousands of books, which is very good. Well, after Carmen Mola was the announced winner, they waited for her to come up on stage and accept the award, and 3 men went up there. It turns out that Carmen Mola has been, for the last 4 or 5 years, a pseudonym for these 3 men. They were authors in their own right or screenwriters, something like that. But they were men. They won. The publishing business is really increasingly controlled by women. It's not possible to publish a novel with a major publisher that doesn't glorify feminism and portray men as, well, like we see them on TV commercials, idiots, and if not idiots, evil. And so, of course, with them using a pseudonym to win this prize, they came in for criticism, notwithstanding the fact that in the 19th century, George Elliot was a pseudonym for a woman who was an author, a successful author. She used George Elliot as a pseudonym because in the 19th century, she felt she would be more readily accepted if she was thought to be a man. Well, these guys, even though they deny it, probably realized they were more likely to win the prize if they used a woman's name. And that's what happened. $1.3 million. So, of course, the Washington Post is outraged. They had an editorial condemning this. And not only the Washington Post, but also the Financial Times in London, same time. And I suspect we'll see more feminists condemning this sort of thing. But my point is, as long as Black critical race theory and feminists continue to grow in parallel, They are going to control our society. They're going to continue to teach students that America is divided into two factions: oppressors and victims. That's what they're going to teach our children. On the race side, if you're white, you're an oppressor. If you're Black or Latino, you're a victim. If you're Asian, you don't quite qualify. And in terms of gender, the oppressor is the male and the victim is the female. As long as we teach this, we're not only going to be destroying any respect for our traditions, including Confederate memory, but we're going to be teaching our children a lie. And because it's a lie, they won't be in academia. The critical race theorist and the feminist will not permit any conversation that challenges any of their tenets, because they know that an imagined reality will collapse if just one speck of reality is allowed to take root. It has to. And that's why they have this cancel culture. That's why they don't let us talk. Because they know that if we give them a dose of reality, their whole mirage will collapse. It would be great for America, but it would be bad for them, because their victimhood status enables them to get free stuff. And it has for at least 55 years. They have no intention of giving up that power. Okay, so that's my talk for today. And I want to thank you for watching. I'll be back again and look forward to seeing you.